Hello, folks. Key of W, Artisans of Glimmith. Okay. This game is never going to end. We're going to get to... Let's go over here. We're gilding windows. I'm going to take care of size separation. I think I like size separation. I think I would love this puzzle, but I'm going to go somewhere else for a second. All right, let's go over here. We're just gilding, so we're doing like 3s, 4s, and 5s. Okay, well, we know that would happen anyway. This would happen anyway. So I got to have a 3 guy here. This got to be an elbow. We could do... Oh no, different areas. I have to remember how this works. If I did this, this 3 here would never work because it would be next to a 3. The 3s can't be next to 3s ever. It's a bit more constricting than mingle shape. Because like mingle shape, its neighboring areas have different, or neighboring regions have different shapes, but they could have the same area. Whereas size separation regions must have different areas. They can't have the same shape because it's impossible to do both, right? I don't know. Don't know how else to say that. This 4 must take at least those 3 spaces, right? That makes sense because it's got to take those. It can take this one if it likes, but it still has to move out this way. So this is a 2. This 3, therefore, is taken care of. This space here has to be a domino because if it attaches to the 3, right? If it goes all the way out, it goes to the 3, we have size separation violation. If it is a single piece, right? Then this piece would also be a single piece because if it was larger, it would have to be a 3 and it'd be next to this 3. So we have a domino here. This 3 must move there, become an elbow piece. This 4 has got to come out. So this 3 here. If I block this 4 in, that is fine. I can make an I shape for a domino here and then put a single there. It would be great. If I don't block it, we're in trouble because now this 4 comes out and it touches that 4 and they're not allowed to touch each other. So I'm going to make a nice I shape right there. We get a domino and then we get a single piece. This 4 right here is going to become an L shape. It's got to touch that one. This 4 can't move to the right. This one, okay, this one's now an L shape. Domino. So this 4 has got to be an O shape, and then we just got to put a domino here and a single. That's good. There we go. Good stuff. Anyway, sorry you had to hear that. That was me choking on my own phlegm. All right, there you go. Breathing problems. You gotta love it. Neighboring regions. Nothing else going on. That's given. Just neighboring regions. We don't have mismatch. That's the thing I have to remember. And this is just my inability to just keep things straight in my head. I can't do anything straight. That mingle shape, size separation, and mismatch all have really, really similar graphics and really, really similar ideas, but they're different. It's really easy to get them confused in my head. So this area here's got to be an elbow, because if it's a domino and a single, the single is going to touch this one. So that's for sure. So these 2 here have to be a domino and a single. They can't be elbows, which means that this middle piece is part of the domino. So now the question is, which way do we go? Well, they all have different areas. So between these 2 right here, right, we have to have one of these 2 at the very least being just a straight triple, right? Because if we don't, no, we could make a domino, a single, and a domino, and then this would have to be a triple. Yeah. Right? Is there any other way to do that? If I put the domino here, this would have to be a triple. Could I make this one a triple? If I did a single and or if I did a between these 2, it would be domino, single, domino. Yeah, so at least one of these is a triple. Which one? Which one's best to make a triple here? Any other things I can do? Kind of seems like I have too many options and I don't want to just say, well, what if I did this and see where the puzzle goes? That's called guessing. There's another space I can look. How about these 2? These 2, unfortunately, can do the thing without having a triple. How about this one? got a lot of options here. Like, all of this is done without making a triple. I guess I could say, if... Oh, hold on. Between these, this might be something. Whatever I do here, if I make a domino and a single, no matter what is in here... Oh, no, hold on. Is this good? This would require triples in both of these areas, though. Would just be required. There'd be no way around it. And then this one would be a triple as well. Oh, hold on. This doesn't work. Yeah, this doesn't work. So I made it all orange so that you can't tell what I'm doing, just because I love you. But this right here doesn't work because this space here has to be a triple because it's touching a domino and a single. And then this space here is nothing it could be because that has to be a triple because it's touching a domino and a single, but then it would touch that triple. So we can't do that here. Could we do a domino and a single this way? Well, this time we would have to make triples on both of these. Because if we did, you can't do dominoes, so this would have to be a single and then that would be a domino. So you'd have to have triples here and here, which would mean this one would have to also be a triple, right? This one would have to be. Because if it's a domino and a single, where's the single go? It can't go there or there. So I think from that we're supposed to gather this is a triple, which makes this a domino and a single as well. This is a domino and a single as well, which means the single is touching this spot, right? This spot is touching a single. So if it's a domino and a single, well, it's possible. Yeah. But this can't be a single, and this can't be a single. What if it's a domino? This can't be a triple, though. So it's either a single and so the domino piece has to go here. So the domino can't move left, has to move down. We have our single there. That means this domino's got to move over. This now can't be a domino. Or do you have a domino and a single? This has to be a triple. Probably should have been able to tell that, actually. If I was smarter, I would know that immediately, right? Then this has got to be a single, because if it's any bigger, it's going to touch both a domino and a triple, so we have this going on. So now this right here has to be a single and a domino. If it was mingle shape, I could make an elbow, but it's not mingle shape. It's a much more restrictive size separation. Here we can put a triple, and we don't need to. We can put a triple here, or we can put a single on a domino. Except we can't. We can't do that. That's illegal. If I put a single on a domino here, where's this domino go? It's going to touch the domino. So this does have to be an elbow piece. It means we can't have an elbow piece here. So this can't be part of an elbow because it'll touch that, and it can't be part of a domino because it'll touch the one right there. So we do have this. It means this domino's here. That's that. This can't be the domino. We have to have the single, which means the domino's got to go in there. And now this has to be a triple because it's touching the other two areas. There's that. And now, okay, this is all working out, which means that my logic actually works and I wasn't completely stupid. Nice. I like the progression of that one. I like what it made me do thinking-wise. All region to air between 3 and 4. That's going to be interesting. There's not very many options for me then. The options are, for those who don't already know, from what I've worked out, the 3s can be straight lines and elbows. That's all you got. Those are your 3s. And then your 4s are your tetrominoes, which are going to spell these words out. And the only reason I know this is because of other games I've played. This game doesn't teach you this specifically, I don't think, unless I don't see it. But I think tetrominoes, it's easy enough. There's only 5 of them. You can pretty much glean it. Once you get larger than tetrominoes, I think it's not exactly reasonable. The player would just instinctively know what they all are. But anyway, I lost, which means I have to take something out here. It has to be at least 3, which means this has to be at least 3, and that has to be at least 3. So what is this going to do? Here, let me make I just don't know what these are. I'm going to say that's that, because red I'll use for something I do know. I don't think this can happen. If this piece moves to the right or this piece moves to the left, right? Because we can only have 3s and 4s. If either of these pieces moves left or right, then this is a 4 now. It's the max it can be, and it's touching a 3, which means this can't be a 3 because it's touching a 3, and it can't be a 4 because it's touching a 4. Now, there's nothing that says this is a 4, is there? If we make this a straight line 4, then we have 3s and 4s are touching each other, which is fine, and they're all stopped here, so I'd have to have 4, 3, and 4, which doesn't look impossible yet. I have to sneeze again. Nope. Yes, false alarm. There's magic. If I say I have to, I'll stop having to. I think I'm going to use that trick instead of immediately sneezing. I know these are here. If I didn't block this, if I said this is 3, these would both be 4. Actually, hold on. Let's just say if I stop this here, right? These would have to be 4s. This is a 3. You can't have anything here because it would be touching both 3 and 4. No, no, no. We have to have this go here, which means that we do have elbows right there. That's the end of that. So these all have to be 3s and 4s. That actually, I just said a sentence that was so dumb. Yes, that's what the rule is. I mean, these are the 4s. This is the 3. So we have to have an I-shaped tetromino there. This has to be 3, but I don't know which direction it goes. This has to be 4, but I don't know which direction it goes. I know we have 3s right in here, so we got to bring that up. This can't go over because then it would be touching another 3. So this is a 4. It has to be an L shape. This is now an elbow shape. So this has to be a 3, and that's got to be a 4, so we got to put a wall there. And this has to be a straight line, otherwise it's not going to work. So then this piece here is probably a T shape, because... yeah, this has to be a 3, and now it can't go up that far, so it's an elbow, which does put a T shape here, because it's got to be a 4. Then we have, let's see, this is going to be a 4. Now I really have to sneeze, do I? Nope. Those have to be blocked because they have to be different sizes. This is another L shape. This has to be... oh, yeah, we just have this one now. All right. Excellent work by me. All right, interesting. Oops. Well, who cares? Good puzzle. We'll see about the other ones here. Once we start hitting 4s and 5s, now we'll see how many of these are still good puzzles. We have 2? I didn't touch this one yet? All right. Just have to make sure... all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 regions to do. Let's start here. This region looks pretty big because we can't take it there. We got to take it all the way around and then touch this guy. Now, it could be even bigger. We don't know. But for sure, it's got to have a size of 7. It can't go there, and it can't go there or there. This region here has to come out to the right. And then now this circle can only touch that square. So we do, in fact, have to block all of that. This... circle has to touch that square. It's the only one it can touch. So now this yellow goes there. And it could be done. We don't know. Let's see. This circle down here has the square in the same container. Because if this circle came in and did... well, what happens? If another circle comes in, it's not going to work. So for sure these two are together. We've got to have this one here. And now... this goes on, and that. So we have to have different sizes. I have a feeling I want this to stay as a 2, right? So this isn't even about like, oh, I've worked out that it can only be a 2. It's more like, if I make this a 3, it doesn't change anything. This being a 2, there's no chance to be next to a 2. These are both much larger already, and there's no chance to be next to a 3. But if I make this a 3, now the yellow doesn't have an option to be bigger than 5. So the question is, yeah, there's this 5 here. 7, I don't have a chance to be, yeah, the biggest this can get is 6. Biggest this can get is 4. I need somebody here, it can't be yellow, it's got to be purple. So purple's got to be at least 3. This space could be taken by orange. This space has to be taken by red. And this space is taken by red. Orange can't be on. So this is 4. But I'm not in danger of either of these being 4. What's this rule doing? This has to be orange, actually. Yeah, this is 6. This can't be 7 now because it's the same as that. So we do have this as a 4. Which means this actually is a 3. Okay, I thought the 2 would be safer, but it's a 3. Okay. I mean, what? I guess. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's not like this is... Okay, I guess this was doing something. It just wasn't doing a lot. Most of this was just rose windows work. Okay. Alright, time for a 4. These ones always suck. Alright. We definitely can't have these together. Different areas. Well, this is going to have to come out to the right for sure. What can I do here? This can't move up this far. If I move this way, I gotta move up. This can't happen. In fact, if I move to the right, I have to go all the way. If I don't move to the... Well, this is possible. Is there any way it doesn't touch that spot? How's that? This L. If it doesn't touch that spot, it either goes here. It's going to touch another 4 size. We can't do that. Or it touches that, which also does it, or it does that. So I think these go together. So it's either here or here. But I don't know immediately which one it is yet. This elbow shape can go anywhere. This one, same deal. It's got to touch that. Now this center triomino can't extend all the way down. It has to go at least 1 space up. Where do we go after that? Hold on, I should just take the obvious. This has to come out. These don't have to come out. Oh, hold on a second. Another one here. This one can't go down. So this one actually is trapped here. So this elbow cannot move up. Let's see. This piece... I think the T shape is forced here. Is there anyone... Oh, no, hold on. It can go further out, right? It can go further out. Well, no, it can't, because if it goes further, like this one doesn't work. So I can't block this wall here, because then I have to make this T shape and this elbow is broken. So I do have to go this way. So the question is, does it take these two, which is totally fine? Does it take these two, which looks fine immediately, but I don't know. I also don't know which direction this goes, because it could move this way or it could move that way. This has to move side to side, and it can't touch the elbows. Probably should have seen this one immediately. This actually would have solved it if I was just a little smarter. So now this elbow has to go where no elbow has gone before. We have to do that. Okay, these are handled. Again, be easier if I actually worked hard and looked at the puzzle. This can't be a 1 or a 2 or a 3, so it's either a single or it's a 4, which is possible. No, it's not possible. So if this is a 1, it's fine. If it's a 2, though, it's touching the domino. If it's a 3, the problem is it starts touching that 3, and it can't be part of it because this is an elbow shape, can't go up there. If it's a 4, it's going to touch the T. So it'd have to be 5, which is going to block into 3. So we do, in fact, have a single here. This can't be a single or a domino or a 4. In fact, 4 would block in, so this actually has to be part of the elbow. So there we go. We have another one of these. No, we don't. Wait, hold on. What can we have here? I can't have I'd have to have this. I can't have this. This can't be a single. What can it be then? Could it be an... So this is wrong? Wait, hold on. What is this? If we have this here, we're stuck. We can't have anything in these spaces. If we have this... Oh, no, we can do it this way, right? I can make the elbow touch up there. That is what we do. And now... This... doesn't have too many restrictions, just can't be 3. We could have a domino and a single here just fine. We couldn't have a 4 here, that's the thing. I'd have to go at least 5. Do I know anything more? Well, I know this, actually. I should just take the win when you see it. So this would be fine. This would be fine, as far as I know. I don't immediately see anything here. I think this space is restricted. We can make a single. We can't make a double or a triple. We're touching them. A 4 would touch this piece no matter what. Anything larger than that... Like, if I make a 5, it's actually fine. I wish I knew that I couldn't make 5. What if I... Hold on, what if I did this? This feels like a dumb move. What if I did this? This would be fine. I would just put this up. We'd have a 1 and we'd have a 4. We'd be all... Oh, no, 4 is not good. This would cause a problem because this would have to be a single, and then we'd have a triple in there. Or a single and a dominant. No, it's actually fine. I can still do that. This... Okay, so I got to find somewhere else. This is fine. This is fine. I think what we learned from this... Actually, hold on. If I did something like this, if a domino here, we'd have the L. What would we have in here? We'd have a 2 and a 3. Right? Like, whatever I do with these elbows. In the space left over, like the space left over here, I would have to do it this way. And in this space, the leftover space here, I would have to make it this, because if I did it this way, we'd have a 2 and a 3. And we can't possibly fit them in without the 3 touching here. So in both cases, if I do it this way, we have to put a single. We have to put a single here in both cases. And then this is always going to be elbow. Huh. Is there anything I can gather about it? If I have something like this, then this would have to come down. We'd have a domino here. Domino up there. We could have a 5. This actually just solves the puzzle. But I don't feel good about it because it's just kind of like... Oh, no, that doesn't solve the puzzle. There we go. I feel better. I feel better. I was like, I just solved the puzzle. I actually can't bring this up now that this one's come down. I should probably be smarter and see that. So now I know this direction is here. Which means this has to go up. So we do, in fact, have this move to the right. So we have to have 3 singles there and then a domino. Okay, that is how it's done. Not bad. How much we got left to... Oh, we got a lot left to gild this thing. Hello. Oh my god, there's so many things on this thing. Okay, let's start down here. This looks like a weak point. And that's as far as we go. Cool. Actually, we can do this kind of everywhere. How many regions do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 regions. That's great. 8 regions. 8. Well, this one definitely can't bend there. And then... it can't... Oh, I see. This one's actually quite restricted, this purple region, because I need to touch a square somewhere. This square is going to be rather tricky, because in order to get to that square, I have to go through another diamond or another triangle. Or, yeah, there's just no way. This square is possible if I go through this circle. This square is definitely possible with either of these 2 circles, but whatever we work out from that, we can't take that circle. We can't take that. But now we have another region over here. So this region's got to touch... I'm actually going to say pick a different color. Pick that color there. This region's got to touch this circle right here. So we know this is the circle that's being touched. This teal set can't go down through this triangle anymore. So we got to take that one. Yeah. Is this right? Is this okay? I've got all the pieces now, but this could still extend somewhere. I'm not sure why quite yet. We'll find out from this. This triangle is also a new set. Let's actually make this one. I'm going to switch it back to yellow. Put these. So I'm trying to put 2 colors too similar close together. I'm trying to help you out if you are slightly colorblind. This game doesn't yet have like a colorblind mode or anything. I don't think it necessarily needs it. Oh, so this triangle, the only circle it can touch is there. So we are, in fact, locked in with this orange cell. So this one is locked into these spaces. We have to take that. And now we have to get a square somewhere on this one. But it's not going to be... Oh, this is now a new set. We got to have another set right here. This right? Yeah, so this now we have to take that square. This one can't take the square. It has to be these 4. This has to... Okay, so we have a 4 here. We have these 4. So this definitely going to be this. Definitely going to take that. Definitely going to take those. Okay, so we have these. We just need to separate the sizes somehow. I don't know. I just feel a little bit paranoid because that was not too difficult. I mean, this puzzle isn't supposed to be, but I was like, okay, that was just normal. So I guess the size separation is going to disambiguate here. But we don't have to worry about this piece at all. Or this one. No, these two touch each other. So one of these two has to change. And then these two, of course, can't be together. What's going to touch this region? It has to be blue. So is there any way I can make these colors not so close to each other? There we go. Let's swap them. This new yellow region here. This region can no longer go down. So we know this one's complete at 4, which means that this one's got to change. Why would I change either of these two? Well, if I make this move over, then it has to move over again, and now we have that problem. So we definitely can't do that. But this can't be 4, so we do have to move this. Is there a reason why I would move this over? No, there is not. So I would move this up. Great. Then this just has to move over? I don't know. Just like that other one, I was like, it's fine. It doesn't feel, it feels like I'm supposed to do something else with that. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay. 3 and 4. So just like the other one, we have the triominoes or the elbows, and then we have our tetraomino options. This one looks like it's a little harder to find a place to spot, but I think this is a good spot as any. These have to be different regions here. And what is the size of them? If this is a 4, then these two are 3. If this is a 3, these two are 4. Huh. Is there a world where I put a wall here? Let's try that. Because if I put a wall here, I have to go at least this far, which is at least this far, which is at least that far. But it doesn't tell me much more. If I put a wall here, that actually tells me less. How about this? This is the same deal. This would require a 3. This would actually force a 3. This wall would force it to be 3, which would force a 4, force a 3. And now we're stuck. The wall can't be here because we can't do a puzzle bit here. This would have to be a 3, but it would end up touching a 3. So we know this much. Which means what? Doesn't mean much immediately. If I do this, for instance, it doesn't tell me anything. If I do this, this is required. Still don't know. Is there another wall piece I could put in somewhere? A wall here wouldn't do much. A wall here would require that I take this cell, because this has to be at least 3, and if it's this one, it's also going to take that. But this is only as far as I get. It doesn't tell me anything. This one was less conclusive. Oh, hold on. It's a bit more conclusive because now we're trapped in here. No, not really. Because we'd go at least this far, and then we would not know what we're doing after this point. We could make this a 4, that's a 3, and this is a 4. Or this is a 3, that's a 4, and that's a 3. If I went the other way, this is 4, this is 3, this would still come out. But that's if I put the wall here, which is not guaranteed at all. Is there another spot I can start at? Does this... I just think I can't bring the blue up here, because then we'd have a 4 and a 3, it'd have a problem. But it doesn't mean the blue's not a 4. Actually, if the blue is 4 at all, the ways it could go up this far, it could go this far, or it could be this one. We know it can't be this. Can it be this way? This red would have to move left, otherwise we'd need a new cell here that's neither a 4 nor a 3. Then if I did this here, we'd have a 4 and a 4, and they would end up touching each other. So you'd have to do it this way, make a 4 and a 4, which is all fine. That actually seems to work just great. This T shape might be harder because now I need something that's neither a 4 nor a 3. So the only way to do that is to bring it down this way. It looks like that's possible. Is it possible this is just a 3? If this is just an elbow and it moves here, then this is a 4, and it would have to take this space, otherwise we'd have a problem. It would have to take that, or it would take that. These two would be 3s no matter what. I don't know. That doesn't give me a conclusion. If it's just 3 and it does this, we'd have to put that space there. And we'd have to make a 4 here. These would be 3s. That's not a problem. Might be a problem. This has to be a 4 and this has to be a 3 in this world. But it isn't a problem. I don't have anything from that yet. Let's see. See, the thing about putting a wall there is it forces us out at least that far, which gives us a 4 in this spot. This is 4. This is 3. Or is it? This could be part of a 4. This has to be at least that far now. And if this is a 3, the yellow has to escape because it's part of a 4, and if it's a 4, it has to escape as part of a 3. So this would be forced if I put a wall here, and then we'd have a new thing there, which would be what? I think what would be tricky is then what goes here. Right, because if this is a 3, we'd have a 4 here and there, and that would also be a 4. So we'd have to make this a 4. If the wall goes here, we have to do this, which makes these two both a 3. I think that's the thing I have to figure out. I think I figure this out. But what does this tell me? This is a new shape. But which direction does it go? I know I can't bring this up that far, but can I bring it up just that far? I can probably bring it up just that far. Yeah, this could be just a new shape there. If I moved it, this would also work as part of a 4. Is there any way this comes down? No, I don't think this would work. No, it does work. Well, it doesn't, but like, I'm just trying to think, how do I get further than this? If I were to put a wall here, what do I get in this area? I'd require that, which would require either this is a 4 and that's a 3, or this is a 3 down here and then this is a 4. Either way, it would take this spot, which means this would have to move in or we'd have a problem with this corner. Which means this, I don't know. Like, we can have, this doesn't even tell me anything. Does it tell me something if I put a wall here? Tells me that I need, if I put this space in here, it doesn't tell me anything. This is fine. I'm wondering if there's a different spot I need to be looking at. I'm just not totally sure how I'd find it. This is my problem with 4s, is that it's like, I don't, even with the harder puzzles, I can usually tell like this is what I'm supposed to start with, but I just don't get this. Can I work it out if I move this piece out? Does it tell me anything? I don't think so. I can't say that these two pieces are definitely part of the same unit because we can always do that. Huh. Is there any way that this is a wall? I'd have to move this at least that far, which means this piece would have to move here because if it's a 4, then it moves out. But if it's not a 4, this is a 4. This piece would have to move down at least, because if it doesn't, then we have 2 3s. Which means, again, we'd have to move this out. But what do we get from this? That's a possibility. This is not a possibility with this world. Because now these both have to, this has to be both 4 and 3. So this would in fact be what we do, and now this has to be both 4 and 3. I think that's how we work it out. I always feel like the logical steps that I have to do on 4s are much harder for me than logical steps I have to do with like 6s and 7s. Just in general. It just, something about it always feels like the expectation that's set is that I shouldn't have to be working that hard for a 4. And if I do, I end up feeling dissatisfied because I shouldn't be working that hard on a 4. It should be sort of mid-range. And then 6s and 7s, if I'm working hard, then I'm satisfied because I've been told they're hard. So I wonder sometimes if the difficulty number here is actually making the game seem worse than it actually is. Because, like, I'm recording off whatever I say off the top of my head is what I say off the top of my head. So like it's just what I'm feeling in the moment. And what I'm feeling in the moment is like I look at this difficulty and go, it makes me feel stupid. Because the expectation in a 1 out of 7 difficulty is that like 1s, 2s, and 3s, I shouldn't have any struggle. Maybe 3s. 3, 4, and 5. In that middle section, I should only have moderate struggle. I should find something relatively quickly and be able to just work through it. And 6s and 7s I should struggle with. So if I don't have that experience, then depending on the direction, if it ends up being easier than I expect based on the difficulty, I end up going, wait, what? It was supposed to just be that? That was too easy. And if it's harder than I expect in the difficulty, I go, am I fucking stupid? Neither of those feelings are things you ever want your players to experience. So maybe this shouldn't ever happen. Maybe the game shouldn't give you difficulty markers. I don't know. That's just a thought, because this is coloring my expectations going in a way that I look at this puzzle and go, I'm telling myself I should see the answer, and I'm not seeing the answer because 4 shouldn't be hard. Whereas if this said 5 or 6, I might even go, oh, okay, if I'm not seeing it, that's fine. It's one of the harder ones. So I think I know that this is true. Do I know that that's true? Because, like, I'm doing every single individual cell to get one piece at a time. To me, that's a hard puzzle. That's not a mid-range puzzle. This would require at least 3 here. Which I don't think it forces anything else. If this was a 3, this would be a 4. This would have to be 3. Which means this would have to take that spot. But this could be 3 going up here, right? Or it could be 3 going down there. I don't think that this particular arrangement gives me a cell. Well, I think I can work out these. Yeah, I can work out these because these are all different. So I've got to have a different cell here. I've got to have a different cell here. And I've got to have a different cell here. Right? Because if this is a 3, and these are 4s, we'd have to have 3, 4, 3 on this side. So I think maybe that's the thing I got to figure out. Maybe I was just supposed to know to do that. Yeah. Okay, now what? I'm just looking. What now? What do I do? I just know these have to be opposites of each other, right? These just have to be different. I just don't know what direction to go. Like, is that a 4? Is that a 3? Do I know? Do I care? Is there any way that's a wall? If so, we have to do this. We'd have to do that. This would have to be a 3. So we know this is a 4. We know this is a 3. We know this is a 4. We know this is a 3. We know this is a 4. We know this is a 4. Takes those. Yeah, I think we break it here because we need a 3 there, there, and there. This is a really, really long logic train because that right there was what we call a guess. But I think it means that we don't have a wall there. I think it means we have to take this. But it still doesn't tell us whether this is 3 or 4. This piece not being able to go through there now means, what is it? If it takes this space, it's going to take that space. I'm not 100% sure on this, but that's probably what it is. If I put a wall there, how about if I made this a 4? And I make this a 3. This would be 4, this would be 3, this would be 4, 3. This is 3. We'd have to have a piece here, which is a 4. And then we have a 4 and a 3 next to each other, so that doesn't work. Yeah, it's not really satisfying for me to have to guess half the puzzle to see if the guess is right. So I think that just has to be the case. What if this is a 4? Okay, this is now 3. That means this is 4, this is 3, this is 4. Where do I go from there? Hold on. If this is 4, 3, 4, 3, these are 3s, so it can't go up. Actually, I think that one's true no matter what. This can't ever touch that, because this, whatever this is, opposite parity, opposite to that, opposite to that. These two are together. So it has to go at least that far. So if this is 4, this is done here, which means 4, 3, this is 3, so there have to be 4s, this would have to be a 4, and then we'd have a problem here again. So I think this can't be a 4. But is this going to work? Because now this has to be a 3, this has to be a 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. We have to have a 3 there. And I think we just have this one done now. Man, that just was a bad experience. I don't think this one was necessarily bad, I just don't know what I was supposed to do. And going back to this, I don't know, the more I play the game, the more I'm starting to wonder, does this make the game feel worse? Because the thing about this is, like, I'm telling you how I feel playing the game. I'm sure that if you played the entire game in one sitting and then only recorded your thoughts after finishing, you'd have different thoughts. But, like, those would be, you know, thinky thoughts, not feely thoughts. And my feely thoughts go, I see this. This is telling me something. Everything you put in the game is communicating to your player. This communicates to your player. This is in the middle. This isn't an easy puzzle, but it's not a hard puzzle. And so I'm expecting going in not to have an easy time and not to have a hard time. So if I experience either an easy time or a hard time, I feel way off. Maybe it's better if the game has no difficulty markers. Like, yeah, then you run into puzzles where you're not sure, but then you know that if you're struggling, it's just a hard puzzle. Whereas if I'm struggling on a puzzle and that number isn't at least a 6, I feel like an idiot. I just feel like an idiot. Why would you ever give me that feeling? Just let me come to the conclusion that I'm struggling because the puzzle's hard. Like, I think the difficulty is in there so that players can pick and choose which puzzles they want, and they can do this, but the puzzles aren't presented in order anyway. If you just rearranged the puzzles in a different order, perhaps guiding the players through, because at the beginning of every location, the puzzle order is pretty linear. You can just make it a little more linear at the top, get everyone through your tutorial puzzles, and then players can just figure out what they want to do from there. And maybe having puzzles, like this puzzle's much larger than the others, which could signal that it's a bigger deal than the others. Like, I look at this, and even without seeing the difficulty marker, I know this one's a big deal. So I'd assume this is a much more challenging puzzle. But the yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That might be because, like, I might not be complaining nearly as much because my expectations wouldn't be measured against a reality that doesn't match. Like, I see this 4, I think I should have a medium time. I should have to find a logical break-in that is somewhat challenging, but doesn't require me to scrape and drag through. But, like, you also can't guarantee what level of smarts your players have. Right? Like, you don't know. You might have a dumb as rocks player. You might have a brilliant solver who's done this type of puzzle 10,000 times already. And so that person might think 7s are easy. Someone might think 1s are hard. How do you judge that? But, like, the numbers are telling the player that they shouldn't struggle with 1s, they should struggle with 7s, and they should only moderately, like, think about the 4s. So, like, get rid of them. Because players aren't universal. Everyone's got different expectations going in. Everyone's going to rate the puzzles different. The 4s, to me, almost never are at 4. They're either at, like, 2 or they're at 6. And so I always feel either incompetent if it's harder than I expect, or I feel like I must have missed something important if I solve it too easily. So they're never fun. They're just never fun. Get rid of the number and I'd like it. God. Okay, let's actually solve the puzzle. Stop being a whiny little bitch on main. Alright, let's do this. Those are all diamonds and diamonds. They're dominoes. Well, they can't touch each other, so we just can't ever bring them next to each other. We can do this, though. We can't bring this down now. Now we got the threes. The problem with the threes here is that we can have the threes touch each other. Oh, hold on. This 3 has to be a straightaway into that 3. And the reason is if we put a wall here, we have to make an elbow. And now we have to have a single shape here, but the range thing tells us we can't do that. So this has to extend into that spot. It means this can't move up. What else do I know? I know this has got to be 4. So I've got to make sure I don't leave any singletons behind. So like this would be a bad idea. In fact, this has to be at least 2. Because of the range. It has to be more than 2 because we can't have 2s next to each other. This could be a 3. Could be a 3 going that way. I don't know. This actually puts quite a bit of restriction on it. If I have a 3 here, then what goes there would have to be the 4. Actually, no matter what, the 4 has to touch that space. It doesn't have to necessarily go this way or that way, but it has to touch that space. We could take that one, right? I'm just making sure. That's why I'm trying to use the same color for the same area size no matter what. I don't always do that. If this was a 4, it would have. If this is a 4, it couldn't extend into that one, could it? Oh, it could. It could just be that. So this doesn't have to take that spot. I don't know what it has to do. Okay. See, this feels a little more like 4, because I started with something that got me somewhere. Now I have to think about it, but I don't feel lost. I just feel like I'm thinking about it. What goes here? How's that? This can't be a 2, because we're touching other 2s that it can't be. This can't be a 3, because if it's a 3, it can't reach that, but it's going to touch it. So this actually does have to be a 4, and it has to take at least those 3 spaces. That gives us this 2. That gives us this 3. This 4 now can't take this spot, because then it would either overload a 4 or it would be 2 4s touching. So this 4 does have to take that spot here, which means it has to take this spot or we have a single. We can't have that because of the range rule. This 3 has to extend out, which means this one can't go that direction at all, which means it has to take this one. If it doesn't take this piece, it's an elbow and we have a single. So we've got that going on. This can't go either of those directions. So now what goes in here? It can't be a 2 and it can't be a 3. So it's got to be, this is the 4. This is the 4. That's the domino. This red and orange is really close to each other. Let's get a lighter orange. There we go. I chose red and orange because I hate you. No. I also wish I was better at picking colors. It's not that big a deal. If I was just playing by myself, I would probably not care as much. But I keep thinking, like, I have to please my 10,000 adoring fans. And what if you just have trouble processing the different colors? I'm trying. If this goes here... Well, okay, if this 3 goes down, we would have a problem. We'd have a singleton there. We can't do that. We got to do this and we got to do that. That's nice. This has to be a 4 and a 2. And it has to be arranged in this direction. No, sorry, the other way. It has to be arranged this direction. There you go. See, that felt more like what 4 should feel like. It's on the easier side of 4, but it is on the side of 4. Like, if this had said it was difficulty 3 or 5, I wouldn't... Well, 5, I might have said this is a little too easy for 5. But it feels better. I feel better about that puzzle. And, like... You can step back from a game and then have your thoughts about whether it's good or bad, completely devoid of your feelings. But in the moment, the only thing I have is, how did I feel about that puzzle? This felt good to me because it matched this. If I didn't know, I'm putting my hand over the screen because I'm a fucking dumbass. You can't see what I'm doing. I'm blocking the 4 from my vision. If I went into this puzzle not knowing it and I just did it, I would probably think, yeah, that was a medium difficulty puzzle. But it was medium difficulty to me. You might have played it and thought it was easy. You might have played it and thought it was hard. But if you play it and think it's easy and the game tells you it's hard, or if you play it and you think it's hard and the game tells you it's easy, you have less satisfaction solving the puzzle. Do you see what I am trying to communicate with my constant whining? Do you see? Okay, minimum 5, size separation. Okay, it better not be all 5s. Okay, it's not going to be 51. I've seen a puzzle that does this. It says minimum, but haha, it's actually all just the minimum, and that's not as clever as they think. What am I going to do here? How about this space in the center? This space in the center is a 5, and here's why. We can't touch either of those squares because they're on the opposite side of the border, but we have to be at least 5, so it has to be this Z shape. There we go. That's how we get started. I kind of like that as a break-in piece. It's a clever bit. I feel I was lucky to look here because I was very tempted to start in these corners because they look interesting, but I feel I would get lost if I looked there. Okay, now what? We'll put that there. We'll put this here. Oh, hold on. This purple can't move up, so it's got to move down. And then it can't move into there. We've got to block these. It has to be at least 5. It's got to take this space, otherwise that space isn't at least 5. This one can't move down. It's got to be at least. So we have at least 6. Maybe more. But at least in this space over here, we got something different. Let's put a thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which means this has to be a different thing, right? But it can be purple. It doesn't have to be blue. Because there's no maximum. Hey, I didn't ask about that. I could just do this all day. This space could just be the cyan. That's the thing. I don't know if it's different. This space can't be cyan because it can't reach. So let's make another shape. Let's make a different color here. Let's put red. Red goes here. Which means this isn't red, but it's also not purple. Purple can't reach up there. So this is a new shape. We'll call it blue. Blue being at least 5 means even if it started here, it would have to extend up that way, so it's red. There can't be a new shape in there, so that's also part of red. Red is satisfied, but needs to take at least one more space to avoid the size separation violation here. This now can't be red, because red can't come through, and it can't be teal. This can be, yeah, it can't be teal. So this is a new shape, but it could be the blue. In fact, I think it is the blue. Because this red has, no, it can't. Red has to take another shape. So if the red takes this one, it has to take at least one of these two. If it takes this space, this can't be a thing. So it has to be blocked here. It takes that one at least, which means this is a 5. So we got 2 5s here. This is 6. We're fine. This is 6. So this can be a new shape. In fact, if this takes this, it can't be a different one. Let's put another blue shape up there. I like blue. So this 6 is so far satisfied, but we can make the 6s bigger. I don't know why we wouldn't yet. What's this color? It can't be cyan. The only way for cyan to get up there is to block in a shape here that doesn't fit. This also can't be teal, so this shape has to be something different. Let's make it orange. Orange is going to come down at least that far. And then it can't be in here, so this has to be cyan to make sure we don't have a problem. So what am I going to do with... This could all just be purple and orange. What would I do differently? Oh, hold on. These are the same. Now, minimum 5. We'd have to do this. These are now the same. I see. Okay, I see what's going on here. This being a 6 can't be next to that 6, so we have to make a 7. This is now a 7. This has to be bigger, but it can't be that space because that's got to be at least 5. So we can take these. Those are the same size now. This is that. There we go. That's actually clever at the ending. I fucked up the ending. That was on me. But I feel like... See... This is where luck comes in. If I had not started in the center, I would have had a harder time breaking in. Probably not that much harder. Because I started in the center, this puzzle ended up feeling a little easier. This puzzle ended up feeling more like a 3 than a 4. But not so far away from 4 that I was dissatisfied. But I bet if I'd started somewhere else, I might have felt frustrated and thought the puzzle was harder than it was, right? And again, that's the feelings. The feelings which are unreliable, they're flighty, but that's you can't if someone tells you how they feel, you can't say no you don't. Like if I feel bad when I solve a puzzle, you can't say, well, you shouldn't have felt that way. That's just how I feel. And the difficulty here is telling me how I should feel. Let's just get these things. We know that these are going to be, we know the 1 is done. We know the 3s are going to be here. We've got our 4s. We've got our 5s. We've got our 6s. And we've got our 7s. So we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. There's going to be 49 in here. The 5s can't touch each other. The only things that could potentially touch each other are 6s. So if I added all this up to make 49, we got 1, 2. We got 4, 6, 9, 12, 16, 20, 27, 37. So we're 12 away from 49. That means these 2 got to touch and these 2 got to touch. Or these 2 got to touch and these 2 got... Whatever the case, 6s, there can only be 2 of them. Could I have these touch? These can't. Yeah, these can't reach without overloading. So it's these 2 with these 2. So this has to move out that direction. I'm going to block it in some way. What is the clue? But it's going to be every space is filled. So actually the 5 can't fill this space over here because then these 6s are stopped from touching each other. So the 6 is going to touch because no one else can reach this space. Because if this space isn't a 6, what is it? Right? If we put a wall here, this is how 6 goes. Now nothing can reach it. So the 6 is moving up here. Now we could move the 4 in here, so we don't actually know any further than that. If I put a wall here, it doesn't seem to do anything immediately. What goes in this corner? It could be the 3. What goes here? It could be the 4 or the 3. These 6s have to touch, but it's possible they reach that corner, so I don't know for sure. The 7 could just fill whatever I haven't filled in before, so I'm not too worried about that. What reaches this one? If I put a wall here, the 5 can reach it? Ah, I have another thought. Without this wall, this 2 can't move down because it creates an empty, or an orphan cell. We have to move it up. Which means this 6 has to move down. So now the 6 is one of these 2 cells. We got to block everywhere else. If my logic is correct. This 3 now no longer goes down because it would go into here. So somebody's got to reach here. It's got to be the 7. So I think the 7's actually set from there. It means the 5 has to go into that spot. So the 6 is set. This 4 is set. This has to be the 5 now. 3, 2, 6, 5, and 4. Yeah, that one hinges on just having the right count minus the numbers. If I didn't know about the 6 trick, I think I would have been a much harder solve. So that one felt good as a solve, and it felt like it was around here. Around 4. That felt right. How about this one? What's with this? Serious question. What is this for? Like, now speaking as a puzzle solver, like, just think about it. Ask yourself, if I removed these squares, how does this puzzle change? I'm not asking it necessarily as a gotcha. I don't know immediately, because my thought, looking at these 2 rules, goes, these don't do anything. They have to be solos. They have to be singles. But they don't affect any squares. So what is it? Are we drawing a picture? Because that's my only thought. The only reason this is either here, this is here, to be charitable to the designers. Only reason this is here is that we're going to draw a picture. Is that what this is? I hope not. I mean, a picture would be okay. It kind of looks like it could be something. It wouldn't be the worst thing ever. Let's get some 5s. Some 3s. And then this 2 right there. What is... I don't know. I'm getting hung up on this kind of stuff. But this is the thing that annoys me. Like, again, everything you do in the game is communicating something to the player. And especially with puzzle games where it's important to take into account everything on a puzzle, I see this and I go, just get rid of that. My thought is, don't have this here. It doesn't change the outcome of the puzzle. So this could be a 2, or it could be part of this 3. Don't know immediately. If it was part of the 3, this would have to be a single. But if it was a 2, this would connect, and then I don't think that helps me yet. These 3s could be the same one. We don't know. This 3 can't touch either of those 2. It's not going to reach. So it has to be this. Because otherwise it's going to just nudge right up against them. So that's your 3, which means this is a single here. This 3 can't move left. This 3 has to move out, but it can't continue, so it's got to be an elbow. So now here we have to have something that's not a 3, but it could be a 1. This 3 can't move down now. It's got to move this way. It can't move down here because then it overloads. So yeah, this 3 is in fact part of 1 bit. This 5 could go in here and be all these spaces just fine, but could also come out. We don't know. This 5 does have to come out. It's going to be a part of this 5. I'm just not sure how. This 5 could take all of those spaces. We don't know. This 3's done. This 3 is actually done. Oh, hold on. Duh. Duh. Big duh. That goes there. These 5 are together. Oh, I've been going for an hour. I have lost track of time. That is good. I mean, it's bad because I didn't want to do one video this long, but it's good because it meant I'm having a good time today. This has to move out. If I move the 5 all the way down... Oh, hold on. Can this 5 ever move up? No, it cannot. It now cannot move up. I have determined because then this 5 has nowhere to go. Because it either connects here, we have a problem there, or connects here, we have a problem there. So this 5 does not move up. So it is, in fact, in this space. This 5 can no longer take that spot, which doesn't immediately help me. What goes here? It's not the 3. This 3 can't touch that one, so it has to be this. Which means I need a 1 and a 2. That's the only way I can fill that space in. This 3 here can't move that way, can't move this way. Ah, so this space can't be a 3. So if I make this a 3, we're in trouble. So this is in fact a 2, 3, and a 2. This 2 goes here. This 5 can only move out so far. So it has to move up there. We could have singles. No, can this 5 ever move out this far? This 3's got to move up. We're trapped in here. Got to take 2 of those. This can't move. This can't move left because it's going to touch the other thing. So the 3 actually is here. This is the 5. This is now a 1, and then this is the 5. So is it a drawing? Is that... See, the thing about the shape is it looks like, could this be like a crown on a guy's head and he's holding something? But the shapes inside the puzzle don't tell me anything. So I'm looking at this going, is this just another case like one of the puzzles I had in a previous video where I was just getting so fucking mad because it's like, you guys are up your own ass with how clever you are? What are these 2 squares doing? They're doing nothing. Like, why... Why do you... Okay, never mind. Well, 2 more. We can do 2 more. I can finish this video, make it just an extra long one. All right, 5. This is telling me, the expectation, that this is a hard but not crazy hard puzzle, right? It's telling me it's up there. It should be challenging. I shouldn't figure it out quickly, but I also shouldn't get stuck. I shouldn't get stuck at 5. I should only get stuck at 6 and 7. That's the expectation I have coming in. I don't think I'm going to get stuck on this puzzle, but like, that's what you as a game designer are telling me when you do that kind of stuff. These could be 1 unit, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't immediately have something here. One of these 2 pieces has to move in. That's for sure. One of these oh, hold on. This can't be a single piece. So it's got to be one. It's got to be attached to the 3, which means they all have to be attached. So here can't be 3. It could be 2, though. This 3 has a lot of options, actually. Never mind. This can't be a 1, but something's got to go in here. We're not sure what it is. What goes here? It's not a 1 or a 2. This has to be at least 3. But it can't be a 3. So this can't be a 1, because there's a problem. This can't be a 2, because that's a problem. This can't be a 3, because now that's a problem. So this has to be at least a 4. I don't know why I locked that in. It could be larger than a 4. This 3 is set. It's the only thing it can do, so we have another single here. This has to be at least 2, but it could be larger than a 2. This is, like, that's possible. I mean, there's nothing that says I can't just have one giant honking area. Does this 3 have a wall? If I put a wall there, I would have this. Which is fine. Is it? This 2 ever move left? Yeah. No. If this 2 moves left, we're in trouble. There we go. We can at least do that. If this 2 moves right, are we in trouble? No. We're not. This would be trouble. Actually, hold on. This 2 can't move up. This probably I should have noticed from day 1. Should have seen that immediately. This can't move up. Because what do we do there? Nothing. So we have to stop that. If it moves right, we just put a 3 in here. We're fine. If it moves down, we can put a 3 in here or a 4 in there. We don't know. Does 3 have any restrictions? Because this 4 is set where it is. It can be larger, but there's nothing that says it has to stop. I can't take both of these, I know. So I have to take... I can take this? Well, hold on. If this 2 moves out, I have to have that, right? I have to have these spaces. If the 2 moves down, I have to take this space again. I can take that. I could just take that space. No, I can't. If I take this space, what I do here, I have to move. Yeah. Hold on. I can't ever move the 3 up there. So if this goes this way, it's set. But if it's here, I can't ever move the 3 here. 3 can just never go to this spot. That's that. It has to go this way. So this is set as a 4. If I move here, that's fine. If I move here, that's fine. So I just got to figure out which one is better. How about in this area? If I move this down, this can still be larger than a 2. I don't know. Like, this is fine. This is fine. I could put a single and a domino here. In fact, I think I could just solve the puzzle here. It's not the most satisfying way because I just kind of saw it all at the end, but it's fine. Oh, right. No, I can't because I'm stupid. I'm stupid. These 3s are touching. I thought, like, that can't be it. That's just too easy. And it was too easy. But, oh, this still has to go there. If I said this, yeah, because I'd have to fill this here. No, it's just this way. I just did something stupid down here. This was right. Am I sure there was no other? I mean, there has to be. There's no way there's puzzles with multiple answers. I do trust the devs enough to not include multiple answers in their puzzles, but I didn't know why that was the solution. But ultimately, that felt about right at 5. Kind of. Little on the easier side, probably because I just guessed my way into the ending. Nah, this looks more like what I'd expect out of 5. Okay. Do we have any 1s on the board? We don't. We have some 2s on the board. Let me mark those. With the colors I tend to use for those. Mark those 3s. These have to be the same unit because size separation. You big dummy. Our 4s are going to go here. 5s. Got these going on. These 2 have to be the same unit for sure. 6. I'm going to do purple today for 6. And then 7. Let's make this happen here. These are together. And then 8. I haven't used... Okay, I haven't... Wait. Yeah. Okay, so I know the size of the board. 4 by... Or sorry, not 4 by... 4, 8, 10 by 10. So 100 units in here. So now I just got to count up. I don't know about counting things up. Don't know how useful that is. I might have to do this. This 5 has to move in. Like, we've got that settled. Let's make it a little lighter so we can tell it's not a dark blue color. This 5 has to move in. There's no way it doesn't. So this is going to settle these for us. And the 5 is settled. So the 6 has to come out. Let's make it a lighter purple. Also, the lighting, like, it seems like... I'm going to back out for a second. It seems like the lighting before you go into a puzzle affects the colors that are on here. Like, this is a lot darker than a puzzle that's, like, over here. See what I mean? Which is an interesting thing, but it does, like, kind of get in the way of the puzzle's sort of the look. This 6 has to come out at least 1 space, which means this either is that 6 or it has to avoid touching it all. This 6 can't move down. This 4 has to move out. Which it touches that, which means this 6 does in fact touch that one. Okay. This 8 has to move out. We got 4 spaces in here. We have to take at least 4 spaces this way. So the 4 is complete. The 7 has to touch that one, has to touch that. Oops, not complete. We need 1 more piece in there, you dummy. This has to take at least those 3 cells. This 8 now is rather trapped. Does have to come into this space. 5, 6. We need to take 2 spaces in here. Don't know which ones they are. This 5 can't come up. This 4 can't come up here and be the same piece now because the 8 doesn't have enough. So these 4s are in fact different pieces. So they have to come out. The 3 could move in. The 5 definitely has to move out. This 4 has to move 1 more. This 4 has to move. It has to connect to that. The reason it connects is because if it doesn't connect, it comes into this space at least twice, and then the 8 doesn't have enough room. This 4 could still take that spot. This 5 can only take 1 spot here, so it does have to take part of that. These 4s can't connect to each other, so this 4 has to move this direction. And then it can't go that, so it has to move that direction. So this 8 is now coming through here. We got 4 spaces of the 8. That'd be 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These connect. Let's make sure they're different colors, but they don't connect here because it would overload. So this 5's here have to come up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this is now complete. So this 5 is complete. So we got a singleton right here. This can come down to be a singleton if we want, or we can make it part of the 8. The 6 is out, so the 6 is here. The 7 is done now. The 3 is done. These are connected. These are probably all connected because I don't think I have room to not connect them. Let me think about it. Yeah, if these 6's don't connect, I have to fill these spaces, and then this 6 has nowhere to go. So these 6's do connect, but do they connect up this way, or do they connect this way? I don't know for sure, but they do connect, which means that we can't go this direction. The 7 can only move one more space in here, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What goes here? This could be a single or a double. This could also be the 4. I've hit a point where I'm not entirely sure what the next step is. If I move this 2 in, the 8 has to take all of these spaces, right? Which would give me... I think it would just solve the puzzle, is the unfortunate bit. I say unfortunate because I was like, do I see what I do if I move this in? And I think it just solves the puzzle. So let me try to move it the other way and see if it breaks the puzzle. So what this would do... It would require these. It would require that. We don't have enough. Yeah, we just don't have enough. I think that's right. I think if I move this down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, the trouble is, yeah, if I move this down, the 7 can't take both of these spaces. It can only take one of them. So yeah, this can't move down. So that's how we get the 2. Okay, good, good. I found a logical reason to do that. I thought, like, do I have to guess here? No, I don't. Don't have to guess. I just have to be smarter. So then I have to move this over, this goes up, and then we have another single space there. Oh, sorry, we don't have a single space because we have to learn to count to 3. That's how we count to 3. Good, good puzzle. I actually like that one. And it felt right. It felt like it's there. It felt like I had to do some stuff on it. On the easier side of 5, but it felt more like it should. So that is where we're going to end things there with some mostly good puzzles. Who knows where we'll be next time, but that was a long-ass video, so I think I'll just take a break for now. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you did a good day. Bye.